All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown. All three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be showing you my entire Melanie Rawn book collection, and I have an incredible collection for you. One of the books is right here. I forgot to pull it out. We will start with this one, though. Now, this one should have also been in my Kate Elliott book collection video I did a couple days ago. I forgot all about it. But this is a collaboration between Melanie Rawn, Jennifer Robinson, and Kate Elliott. And since we're doing a Melanie Rawn book collection, I thought I might as well, show you this book. Not only that, but I got this book signed by all three authors, which is dope. Now I just need to get Michael Whelan to sign it so I can have the artist too. So we'll conclude this one in the collection. I forgot to include that in my Kate Elliott book collection, so I apologize for that. But anyway, let's talk about the Melanie Rawn books. Now, I discovered Melanie Rawn in about the year 1987 or 88 when her first book, The Dragon Prince, came out. So let's, I've got, I know she's written more books than I own. I own 3 trilogies of hers. The Dragon Prince, the Dragon Star, and then this other trilogy over here, which isn't complete. So let's start with the trilogy that isn't complete. And that is the Exiles series, Exiles Book 1 and Exiles Book 2. Exiles Book 1 came out in about the mid-90s, got a great, fantastic Michael Whelan cover. Exiles Book 3, which is called The Mageborn Traitor, another fantastic Michael Whelan cover. 2 magnificently written novels, characterizations top-notch, just magical intrigue. I loved these 2 books. I would recommend them to anybody that loves fantasy. Just know that there's a 3rd book that was due in about the year 1997, and we still have yet to see it. Kind of like the whole Patrick Rothfuss thing, or the whole Game of Thrones thing. When will the book come out? I don't know if it'll ever come out. I hope it does, because the trilogy is not complete. But I will say that these are really good books, and if you want a good fantasy read that leaves you hanging, this is your trilogy of 2 books. Okay, let's move on to some of my favorite fantasy books of all time, and I truly mean this. These books are some of my most cherished possessions on the planet. Not only because Melanie Rawn's stories are cool, but because Michael Whelan did some of my favorite artwork on these books. And I was immediately struck when I entered the bookstore as a youngster and saw this cover for Dragon Prince. I bought the book sight unseen. I don't know if that's the term I knew. I bought this book based on the cover. I didn't know nothing about what was inside of it. I was just like, that is a dope Michael Whelan painting. I'm getting this book, and we'll figure it out later. And by God, when I started reading it, I was hooked. One of the greatest fantasy worlds created here. There's a little map on the inside. And by the way, she also signed these books for me too. But there's a little map. Oh, and there's a little inside illustration there. I have probably read this book about 10 times, and it still looks brand new. And this is the original copy I bought way back in 1987 or 88 or whenever. Let's see, when was it? 1988, yeah. Read 10 times, still looks brand new. It's the way you need to keep your books. This world of the Dragon Prince and all of the characters that are in this and everything that's happening, the action, adventure, the dragons, the political intrigue, the magic, the sorcery, all of it combined. The reason I love this the most is because the landscape that Melanie Rawn has created is almost as big of a character as the creatures and the dragons and the people. And the landscape really reminds me of the desert Southwest, which would make sense because I believe Melanie Rawn is from the desert Southwest. But we get a landscape that's got really red rock desert scenery, kind of down where the dragons live and breed. And then we've also got, much like the Southwest has, the high alpine peaks that rise up to, 12, 13,000 feet. You get up there in the pine trees and the aspen trees and the cool winters and the icy storms. And it reminded me, the landscape and the world she created really reminded me of southern Utah, where I grew up. Because I grew up in a desert town, but the mountains, the high peaks of the mountains were 10 minutes away. And that's the kind of the way this, I think of the desert Southwest when I'm reading these books, and it makes me happy. But Dragon Princess book number 1. The Star Scroll is book number 2. And Sunrunner's Fire is book number 3. And I do believe I have read and reviewed, I've reviewed all 3 of these books on my channel. So if you want to see a detailed review of any of these books, just type in my last name, enter your YouTube search bar, and then Melanie Rawn's name, and the reviews will magically appear upon your computer screen. But this trilogy here is a 10 out of 10. One of my favorite fantasy trilogies of all time. Like I said, I can't get over how much I love these books. What are they about, you might say, other than the description I've given you? Well, I'll read the back of this book one so you can get a good idea. The Dragon Lord. When Rohan became the new prince of the desert, ruler of the kingdom granted his family for as long as the long sands spewed fire, he took the crown with 2 goals in mind. First and foremost, he sought to bring permanent peace to his world of divided princedoms, realms hovering always on the brink of war. And in a land where dragon slaying was proof of manhood, Rohan was the sole champion of the dragons, fighting desperately to preserve the last remaining lords of the sky, and with them a secret which might be the salvation of his people, and his Sunrunner witch, Sioned or Sinead. I don't know how you pronounce this name. Sioned. I say Sinead or Sioned. I don't know. Who was fated by fire to be Rohan's bride, had mastered the magic of sunlight and moon glow, catching hints of a yet-to-be-formed pattern which would irrevocably affect the destinies of the Sunrunners and ordinary mortals alike. The Sunrunners are sort of the witchcrafty sorcerer magic users of the group. Yet caught in the machinations of Lady of Goddess Keep and Prince Rohan, and his sworn enemy, the treacherously cunning High Prince Kitsoyan. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff that happens after that. That's cool. Anyway, that's the first trilogy. And then we get the second trilogy, which follows along in the footsteps of the first trilogy, and it's also about all the same characters, but that is the the Dragon Star books. Why am I calling it the Star Scroll? I don't know. The Dragon Star trilogy, starting with Stronghold, another great Michael Whelan painting. And then we've got, let's see, book 2 is Dragon Token, another magnificent, they just get better and better, these Michael Whelan paintings. And then we've got Sky Bowl, book 3 of the 6th book. Just look at that painting. That is magnificent, majestic, and extraordinarily good. All rolled into one. And then when you got all of the books on the shelf together, they just look really good together. They look like they just belong together in a series. Look how cool those are. And we put them all face out. And I mean, you get the picture. They're just dope. And then we've got these other books down here too. Anyway, that is my entire Melanie Rawn book collection. And I thought I'd show it to you, and there you go.